Lewis Hamilton's qualifying performances are concerning. Red Bull responds to illegal car drama and McLaren is seeking answers regarding Red Bull. Do consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Red Bull's Max Verstappen has secured the top position in the sprint qualifying event during the Formula One United States Grand Prix. He managed to outperform other competitors like George Russell, Charles Leclerc, and his title rival Lando Norris. It was a challenging day for the Red Bull team, especially considering the ongoing controversy surrounding the adjustment system for the front bib ride height on their cars. Despite this, Verstappen was able to achieve his first pole position, whether in sprint qualifying or a Grand Prix, since the race held in Austria way back in June. However, not all news was good for the Red Bull team. Sergio Perez was sadly knocked out of the running in the SQ2 session, and the situation was quite similar for the McLaren team, as rookie Oscar Piastri did not manage to advance past the very first session. This initial session required all drivers to use medium tires. In the final part of qualifying, known as SQ3, Russell seemed to be in a strong position to clinch the top spot. Mercedes made their runs early in this last segment, and Russell incredibly improved his time, finishing with a lap that was 0.7 seconds faster than his personal best achieved in SQ2. In contrast, his teammate Lewis Hamilton faced difficulties in his W15 car, struggling to match Russell's performance. Russell clocked in a time of 1 minute 32.845 seconds, which was sufficient to place him ahead of other top competitors like Leclerc, Norris, and Carlos Sainz as they all made their runs towards the end of the session. However, Verstappen soon surpassed them all with a remarkable lap, setting a time of 1 minute 32.833 seconds. Even though he did not set the fastest times in any sector of the Austin track, he nevertheless took the top spot as he aims to maintain his impressive record of winning every sprint race in the ongoing 2024 season. In another impressive show, Nico Hülkenberg managed to finish 6th, outpacing Hamilton in the process. Meanwhile, Kevin Magnussen finished in 8th place, marking a fantastic day for the Haas team, which was competing on home soil. Yuki Tsunoda secured the 9th position, while Williams rookie driver Franco Colapinto had an excellent day, successfully making it into the SQ3 segment. Unfortunately, his success was marred by a spin at turn 12 towards the end of the main straight while battling with the Mercedes cars, ultimately placing him in 10th. Sergio Perez had the most disappointing outcome in SQ2, as he found himself eliminated. His final lap was completed well before the checkered flag waved, but it only placed him in 10th position at that moment. Shortly after, he was pushed out of contention by Tsunoda's late improvement on the track. Fernando Alonso appeared to be in trouble as well, looking set for a 12th place finish until both he and his teammate Lance Stroll found their times invalidated because they went too wide on the penultimate corner during SQ2. Liam Lawson also faced a similar fate with a track limits violation on his only lap, as the New Zealand driver was penalized for running wide at turn 1. This resulted in him finishing behind Stroll and Alonso, who ended up taking the 13th and 14th positions, respectively. This fortunate turn of events boosted Pierre Gasly into the 12th position. The conclusion of SQ1 was filled with drama and controversy. Alex Albon, driving for Williams, experienced a heart-stopping moment as he spun his car at a full 360-degree turn while exiting the penultimate corner during his final attempt. This unfortunate incident meant he finished in 18th place. Oscar Piastri also faced challenges, having his best time taken away due to a track limits infraction at the same corner. His previous best lap only secured him 16th place, eliminating him from the race alongside Esteban Ocon. Albon and the Sauber driver's running body for Formula One is currently conducting a thorough examination of the front bib adjusters on multiple Formula One cars during this weekend's United States Grand Prix. This inspection comes after there were strong suspicions that the Red Bull team may have utilized this type of device while in the parc ferme, which is the controlled area where cars are kept during certain periods of the race weekend. This situation has sparked significant interest and debate within the F1 paddock here in Austin, especially after Red Bull publicly acknowledged the existence of such an adjuster, which has led to much controversy. This issue became more prominent following a report by Motorsport that revealed the FIA had decided to tighten regulations regarding these particular components after the events of the Singapore Grand Prix. Just prior to the first practice session at the Circuit of the Americas, Zak Brown, who is the team principal at McLaren, expressed his concerns and called upon the FIA to carry out a very detailed investigation into the situation at hand. He emphasized the importance of looking into the matter thoroughly due to its implications for the competitive integrity of the sport. During the initial one-hour practice session for this weekend's sprint event, cameras from Sky Sports captured footage of FIA officials closely examining both Red Bull RB20 cars in the area that has raised concerns. Furthermore, it has come to light that the governing body is systematically performing similar inspections along the entire pit lane at the Austin circuit on Friday. This is all part of a broader initiative aimed at gathering data to ensure that similar components found on all cars do not require sealing, which is currently the case for Red Bull's vehicle. This sealing process is necessary before any modifications can be made to guarantee that the part will not be utilized between qualifying rounds and the race itself. Red Bull is anticipated to implement a lasting solution to this issue before the Brazilian Grand Prix, which is scheduled to take place at the end of this current triple-header race weekend. All Formula One teams have mechanisms in place that permit the adjustment of ride heights around the front bib component of their cars. Nonetheless, the suggestion that Red Bull's adjuster might have been used to change setup parameters in between qualifying and the race has made this situation especially contentious. In response to the allegations, Red Bull firmly denies any wrongdoing and insists they have never engaged in such practices. The FIA has previously stated that it is content that there is no evidence indicating any breach of regulations by any team in this regard. Nicolas Tumbatzis, who is the head of single-seaters for the FIA, reiterated to Sky Sports on Friday that he believes the matter has been managed adequately. He stated that there were no clear indications that any team was undertaking such actions. Tumbatzis emphasized that starting with this race, there must be no possibility for such changes to be made without detection. He further explained that if a team possesses a design that allows for rapid adjustments to ride height, it will need to be thoroughly examined to ensure they don't have access to their settings while in parc ferme. He acknowledged that all teams have complied with these regulations so far and expressed confidence that the situation is under control. Sources from Motorsport have indicated that the formal investigation that Brown has requested has yet to be initiated by the FIA, and the ongoing spot checks across the grid do not currently form part of any larger investigation effort. He also added that the FIA would not delve into past activities to ensure compliance with regulations. Tumbatzis mentioned that we are only discussing minor changes, mere millimeters, and that it is not feasible to check for such small variations. He restated that there have been no indications or proofs of misconduct in the past. On Friday, Brown also addressed the Formula One press course in Austin, where he pointed out that Red Bull uniquely possesses the capability to adjust the ride height from within the cockpit of their car. While he is uncertain whether they have utilized this advantage, he acknowledged that the mere existence of this capability raises valid questions. Brown went on to mention that one of the main concerns he and his McLaren team wish to address is understanding any historical context behind these adjustments and determining if there has been any inappropriate usage of such a device in the past. When questioned by Motorsport about the timeline of any suspected irregularities regarding Red Bull's device, he responded by suggesting that, as long as the device has allowed for cockpit adjustments, this is likely where the FIA should focus their review. Alongside Brown during the press briefing was Laurent Mekies, who is the team principal of Red Bull's junior team. Mekies defended the integrity of the FIA's processes, noting that regulations already exist to prevent teams from engaging in the suspicious actions that Red Bull is being accused of. Mekies pointed out that many different aspects of a race car can be adjusted, and the parc ferme rule has been in place for around 15 years. During that time, the FIA has monitored if teams are making mechanical adjustments from the conclusion of qualifying to the race. He indicated that this is not a new challenge, emphasizing that teams can alter suspension settings or ride heights easily with the right tools. He reassured that the FIA makes every effort to ensure compliance during this critical period, mentioning the presence of cameras and marshals monitoring the teams and their cars around the clock from the end of qualifying until the race begins. Mekies concluded by asserting that the FIA has consistently enforced these regulations and does not believe there is anything novel or concerning regarding this matter. McLaren has recently clarified its position regarding changes made to its complete lineup of rear wings in anticipation of the upcoming United States Grand Prix. This decision comes in light of the recent controversy surrounding what has been referred to as Mini DRS. The team, which is based in Woking, has found itself under significant scrutiny following the events of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. During that race, video footage surfaced showing their rear wing flexing in a manner that drew a lot of attention from fans and competitors alike. The specific movement of the upper element of the rear wing, which rotated backward to create a larger slot gap for better aerodynamic performance, led many in the racing community to quickly designate this design as Mini DRS, likening it to the drag reduction system used in Formula One for overtaking. Even though the rear wing was successfully tested and passed all static load tests established by the FIA, the behavior of the wing at high speeds raised critical conversations between McLaren and the FIA regarding the design and its implications on race performance. As part of these discussions, McLaren agreed to modify the low drag wing used in Baku to prevent any flexing from occurring in the future. However, the possibility of this particular wing returning was mostly limited to the Las Vegas race. As preparations continue for this weekend's race in Austin, the rear wing situation has resurfaced as a prominent topic of discussion. Rumors have emerged suggesting that the FIA requested further adjustments from McLaren. Although the team has firmly denied these claims, they acknowledge that ongoing conversations with the governing body have led them to agree on making modifications to their entire range of wings, particularly the ones set to be utilized in Austin. Reports indicate that the changes will include alterations to the upper element of the rear wing to eliminate any flex while also narrowing the slot gap. A spokesperson from McLaren commented, reiterating that after the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the team proactively offered to implement minor adjustments to its rear wing designs. The spokesperson stated that all rear wings have undergone various minor adjustments since the Baku race to avoid further complications in this area. The adjustments made by McLaren come at a time when the FIA is adopting a rigorous approach toward monitoring the integrity of rear wing flexing during races. Observations made in the pit lane show that teams now appear to have an increased number of reference dots placed on various sections of the rear wing. These dots serve as markers that the FIA uses to assess the degree of flexing occurring during racing conditions. By comparing video footage captured by rear-view cameras against these reference points, any flexion can be spotted more easily. Additionally, it has come to light that higher resolution cameras will be employed in the rear-facing camera positions to enhance the detail and clarity of the recorded footage. This marks a significant upgrade from the measures taken during the Belgian Grand Prix, where the FIA first increased its scrutiny of rear wing flexing. At that time, teams were instructed to mount high-resolution cameras in custom housings designed to capture footage of the front wing end plate and outer flap section. It is important to clarify that the video footage captured by these high-resolution cameras cannot be used to impose penalties on teams. Instead, this initiative aims to provide the FIA with a better understanding of how rear wings flex in practice. This information is intended to facilitate potential changes to existing regulations or help shape future rules for the sport. Furthermore, it has been reported that McLaren is not the only team making adjustments to its rear wing designs for the Austin race. The FIA has reportedly requested modifications from other teams as well, indicating that concerns about wing flexing are widespread within the racing community. Max Verstappen was in great spirits, able to afford a smile and even make a light-hearted comment acknowledging that it had been a while since he last achieved this feat. This marks his first pole position in any format in Formula One, which is a significant milestone, especially after a 6-month gap. As the excitement builds for the United States Grand Prix weekend, Verstappen will be leading the pack in the sprint race. He set an impressive fastest lap time of 1:32.833 seconds around the Circuit of the Americas, narrowly edging out Mercedes' George Russell, who finished just 0.012 seconds behind him. Meanwhile, one of Verstappen's main competitors for the championship title, Lando Norris, will be starting from the 4th position in his updated McLaren car. Norris experienced a challenging day on the track, which makes his performance all the more noteworthy considering the tough circumstances he faced. Verstappen's last pole position prior to this achievement was during the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, held in Imola, which feels like a distant memory after the time that has passed since then. Reflecting on his performance, Verstappen noted, "We had a good day." It's worth mentioning that he has an impressive track record at the United States Grand Prix, having won the last 3 races held at this circuit, along with winning all 3 sprint races this season. He continued to share his thoughts on the unique challenges of sprint qualifying, explaining that it can often be quite tricky. The format involves using medium tires in the earlier sessions, followed by soft tires in the final session, which adds to the complexity of trying to balance speed and tire management. You never really know how much you can push, Verstappen remarked. Despite the challenges, he expressed satisfaction with today's efforts, stating, "I'm happy with today. I think the whole day the car was working quite well," he added, of course, very happy to be first. It's been a while. So yeah, very pleased. Verstappen has always had a fondness for the Austin track, although he did voice some concern about the severe bumps in the circuit after last year's race. This prompted a decision to resurface much of the track in preparation for this weekend's events. Now, evaluating the condition of the circuit, Verstappen mentioned, "This track is amazing to drive. Now with the new tarmac and a little bit older tarmac, the bumpy stuff, it's not easy." He acknowledged that while the challenges presented by the bumps affect all drivers equally, tackling them within the limit of a single lap remains a significant test of skill. After McLaren achieved a convincing victory in Singapore thanks to Lando Norris's outstanding performance, Red Bull felt relieved about the 3-week break leading up to this weekend's United States Grand Prix. This break has provided Red Bull with valuable time to thoroughly analyze all the data they have collected and to prepare their next set of upgrades, which Helmut Marko, a key figure in the team, has indicated that they feel very confident about. The last major updates that Red Bull introduced to their RB20 car occurred at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, these updates did not perform as expected. This left the team at their headquarters in Milton Keynes facing a challenging situation and needing to quickly find solutions to improve their performance on the track. As a direct consequence of these developments, the upcoming weekend is critical for Red Bull's hopes of retaining their championship title. Max Verstappen has worked hard to maintain his lead over Lando Norris since the Imola Grand Prix, which is when McLaren began to show clear signs of improvement and competitiveness again. However, it has become clear that the Dutch driver will need additional upgrades and more robust performance from his car as the season draws to a close. If not, McLaren will continue to hold the upper hand in this competitive battle. In comments made just before Formula One's return this weekend, Helmut Marko expressed a sense of optimism regarding the new updates Red Bull is preparing to unveil. "We are clearly on an upward trend," he mentioned to OE24. At the same time, I must acknowledge that we have recently experienced the same challenges as Ferrari and Mercedes. Sometimes our upgrade packages show an improvement, but other times they do not perform as well, and we still do not fully understand why that inconsistency occurs. He went on to highlight how McLaren has been impressively fast and pointed out that they might have taken too long to commit fully to Lando Norris as their lead driver. Despite this, Norris remains quite a distance behind Max Verstappen in the standings, and the team hopes that Verstappen will soon be able to drive a car that inspires more confidence and allows him to perform at his best. Marko noted that their technicians have been working on new parts and are generally feeling optimistic moving forward. This weekend, one of the key components expected to be part of Red Bull's upgrade package is a new floor specification for their car. The team from Milton Keynes is hopeful that the United States Grand Prix can serve as a turning point that marks the beginning of a comeback in their mid-season development progress. Given that this weekend features a sprint race format, it will not be an easy task to optimize the latest version of the RB20 car. Other leading teams, including Mercedes, will also face similar challenges as they adapt to the conditions. Regardless, the limited amount of running time during the race weekend ramps up the pressure on Red Bull's technical team to establish a strong baseline setup right from the start of free practice. However, it's important to note that simply focusing on the setup can only be a part of what influences overall performance. Ultimately, it's crucial for Christian Horner's team to demonstrate that the hard work they have been putting in over the past month has led to a tangible step forward in their performance capabilities. After achieving a more reliable aerodynamic balance during the Singapore race, Red Bull remains hopeful that they can build on this solid foundation as they look ahead to the final races of the season, culminating in the season finale in Abu Dhabi. Do consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.